Soon after getting out of bed, imagine that you are getting ready for the day. What is the first thought that crosses your mind as you prepare to go to the office? Whether to drive the bike, catching a train, hopping on a bus, or booking cab. Pick whatever choice as you wish, but all these choices have one thing common is technology. The content of this video is all about how technology began and how it has evolved over the years. Before getting into, let's take a moment to compare our lifestyle today with life 100 years ago. There was a time when if someone wanted to communicate, they had to write a letter or send a telegram. It could take 1 or 2 more days, sometimes even a week, to reach the other person. Those days, people used kerosene lamps, fetched water from wells, and cooked on firewood stoves. People traveled by bullock carts, bicycles, steam trains. It was slow and often silent. Fewer medical advancements, manual diagnostic, limited access in rural areas. Working culture was entirely manual. No computers or remote work was available. Learning was happening only through books, blackboards, and handwritten notes. Now, isn't the time is same as before? As the earth evolves and time passes, technology continues to evolve and reshape our world. Just pass and look around. This world is changing every second, and behind it all is technology. Today, instead of going all the way to the post office, just one click is enough to communicate across the globe. Instead of checking the newspaper, we scroll through news apps. Instead of visiting the bank, we transfer money instantly through UPI or mobile apps. From attending classrooms to joining Zoom meetings, everything happens from the home now. Simply, from the moment we open our eyes in the morning to the second we close them at night, we need help of technology. Have you ever thought when this technology actually began? Most of the people may answer that technology started after invention of computer. But the truth is invention of computer is just one of the phase known as modern phase of technology. Then when the technology actually began? 2.5 million years ago, life was completely different from today. There was no light, no electricity, no houses, no computers, no machines, and not even farming was available. If they wanted to survive, hunting was only option left. Welcome to Stone Age era. The Stone Age marks the longest era in human history and it is divided into three distinct phases: the Paleolithic, Mesolithic, and Neolithic period. During Paleolithic period, Earth was gripped by a brutal ice age. Temperatures were freezing, wild animals were roaming freely, and for a human, nature was both a home and a threat. Each day was a battle for survival, a fight against fierce wild animals, deadly diseases, brutal climates, and empty stomachs. Danger lurked in every shadow, and only the strongest endured. But somehow our ancestors made it, against all odds. They survived, they adapted, they evolved. The first thing that helped them was their brain. They were able to recognize their first enemy, that was nature. So, in order to defend the nature's problem, like freezing cold, relentless wind, they started to find and lived on caves. But the shelter alone wasn't enough. The cold crept in through the stone, the night were long, and the dark was terrifying. Then something extraordinary happened. From stone spark came fire. It brought light to the darkness. And it was not enough for them to live a normal life. There was still one enemy they couldn't escape, was hunger. Just raw plants wasn't enough for the folks, so hunting was the only option left. But bare hands weren't enough. They needed something more. They chipped, carved, and cracked rocks into tools to cut the meat, to break bones, and to peel. With these stone tools, they hunted animals, prepared food, and began filling their communities. For the first time, they weren't just surviving, they were solving problems with creation. Stone tool wasn't just a tool, it was the beginning of human invention. From hunger came invention, from stone came survival. The Mesolithic period is often called a transition phase between the wildlife of the Paleolithic and the settled world of the Neolithic. As the Mesolithic age rolled in, the world began to warm up. People started to live in a small groups or like a communities, slowly adapted to the changing environment. They still hunt the animals like before, but now they also turn to rivers and lakes, learning to catch fish for food. It was the beginning of a new way of life. With time, they started making better tools, sharper, smaller, and more suited to their needs. These weapons, called as microlithics. These microlithics, often made of stone, were used for hunting, cutting, and even fishing. People no longer to move constantly from one cave to another like Paleolithic. Instead, people began settling down near rivers and forests, forming small communities. They started to build temporary shelters, choosing places rich in food and water. People were also surprisingly creative. They were good at painting. They drew animals, hunters, and scenes from daily life. This painting wasn't just about art, they were expression of thoughts, emotion, and maybe even beliefs. Some even began to experiment with planting seeds and growing simple crops. It wasn't full farming yet, but it was a hint about future. The Mesolithic, more than just a period, it was a turning point where humans began to shape nature. The Neolithic age is the final division of the Stone Age, following the Paleolithic and Mesolithic period. In the Neolithic age, humans began taming animals to help in their daily lives. Dogs were the first to be domesticated. They helped in hunting and provided protection from wild animals. Later, people domesticated sheep, goat, cattle, and pigs. These animals gave them milk to drink, meat to eat, and wool for making clothes. Cattle were also used in farming to pull heavy loads and plow the fields. Domestication made life easier and helped humans settle in one place. The Neolithic age was a turning point in human history. It was not just one change, it was a complete package. People moved from being hunters to farmers, started to grow crops, and build permanent homes. In the same era, due to reconstructed from modern genetics, data indicates an extreme drop in Y chromosomal diversity occurred living in the Neolithic. So, men began to take dominant roles in society, especially in farming, protecting land, and leading families. As ownership of land crops and animal became important, conflicts and fights began to rise, often over resources. These fights were more serious and frequent than in the Paleolithic age. And the people began building mud brick houses for the first time. These houses were often coated with plaster, making them stronger and more weather resistant. The shift to settled village life led to the increased use of clay not only for building homes but also for making pottery, storage containers, and cooking tools. This development shows how humans began to shape their environment using natural materials and improved construction techniques. As time moved on, these growing communities developed into villages and towns, giving rise to trade, social organization, and early form of government and religion. The progress made during the Neolithic age laid the foundation for the next big step in human development. This age was just the beginning. After the Neolithic period, people learned to use metal tools in the Bronze Age, which helped them build even stronger and smarter societies. The Neolithic age helped humans take their first big step towards building in the world we live in today. Thanks for tuning in. If you feel like you have learned something from this video, don't forget to hit that red subscribe button. Drop your comments in the comment box and let me know what topic you would like to see in the next video.